episode 208 of Is This Thing Working? How you doing today, Denise?
I am awesome today.
All right, here we are. How was that? Y'all like our new stuff, man? Hey, y'all look, we're doing the best we can do with what we got to work with here. Y'all bear with us. We're going to get better. The show's going to get better.
Well, the show and the content is very good.
It always
We've been doing
is.
it for a year now. We're like at episode 208, but we are having issues going live. If anybody out there wants to give us any clues, hints, suggestions on what to do and how to make it.
Talk about the blue lines in our camera. That's what we really need to, we need some good information on.
We really do. Look, we are having issues with this camera thing.
and it may just be us having the issue with it. You may not care at all, but we kind of do. We want the product to look good. And hey, we're learning. So bear with us, man. It's a learning process, and we're going to get through it. Are we not?
We are.
Hey,
and before we start all this, what is the first thing that we say?
We want to state these are our opinions and they're our assertions. And if you agree with us, man, you tell your friends, you share the show.
And if you don't agree with us, you tell your friends and your shares, you share the show. Everywhere. I want to see, is this thing working on everybody's page?
Yep.
Flip it as you can see.
I want to see my haters as well as the ones that like me.
It's episode 208. Congress is a scam, and we have been played.
Again.
We have been played over and over again. We're going to get into that.
Yep.
And make sure you stomp that like button. And download that Rumble app, because that's where we go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yep. And don't forget, we put our podcasts out for you too. Just the same, we're available on every platform. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Google Chrome, we're on all of those. So just look us up. We're easy to find, man.
And make sure you follow us on X. That's where we do a lot of our stuff on there, and we get a lot of content on there. And you can follow me at thing_working, and you can follow James
at James M.A. and I don't remember the numbers.
4125. Let's look him up.
Look me up. Here we go.
He doesn't even he refuses to change.
I refuse to give Elon Musk $8 or $11, whatever the hell it is.
You can change your thing without paying. You're so funny. You can change your thing without paying. Did you know that?
See, I don't even come up.
There he is.
There I am.
There he is.
Here we go.
He is.
If you're any less confused now.
At James M.A. 41250-108, and you will need your number 2 pencil to write that down.
Yeah, and a good sharp memory.
For real.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody, welcome to the show today. We have a lot to talk about. First thing that we're going to get into is to remind everybody about our call to actions.
Yeah.
And Steve Bannon, what does he always say? Get the signal, not the noise.
Yep.
And that's what we're here to help you do.
Yep. And we're here to encourage you to be a force multiplier. How can you be a force multiplier? How can you understand and do what your task and purpose is? And right now, the only thing that we need to be doing is calling and screaming at our House of Representatives, every single one of them, and tell them no CR, no omnibus. If you can't get line item bills passed, shut the government down because you're useless, man.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what we're pushing. And also, Grace from War Room has been pushing these apps that you need to contact your senators and your representatives, and you also can help with all these states that need the help, like Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, I believe North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, all those states. If you go to Early Vote Action and download that app, it will give you a list of people to call. I looked it up last night. I'm going to be doing that every evening from here until the election. You can also make postcards and send them out. They give you a list, and they only give you like a list of 10 names so that you're not having to spend too much money. But if you want to go get 10 postcards and send it out to 10 people, I mean, that's really very helpful, and it gives you a script to write on there.
That's one of the things that Bongino talks about on with the Bongino Army is, hey, 10 people.
Yes, make sure
just
you
10.
Call 10 people, email 10 people, send 10 people postcards, especially in those states. And I know that we're really pushing for those states, but Texas also has elections coming up as well. So we really need to be paying attention to that. Make sure when you download these apps that you get Texas and do the same thing in your own state. 10 people.
The Bill Blaster
emails.
app.
Yes. So you go ahead and do that. So we are on top of it with 45 days left until the election.
Less than, I think.
Less than 44. It was 44 last night or this morning or man, I can't even remember, but it's close.
And I'll tell you this, just to repeat it, like Denise said, call your congressman, call those House of Representatives, call your representative, call them, area code 202-225-3121, and call and ask for your state representative and tell them no CR.
No CR.
No CR.
And we are going to move on to someone else that has been talking about it regularly. Natalie Winters on the War Room. She goes off on them, and honestly, she's the only one that I hear.
Yes,
she is, and so we're 100% behind her, and we want to play a couple of little videos to let you know how important and what your congressmen are doing without you knowing it, because this stuff doesn't show up on mainstream media.
Exactly.
Not at all. You know, so here, let's listen to Miss Natalie Winters on the War Room.
So don't lecture the War Room. I've heard, as you guys know, I was in D.C. last week, some angry group chats from Republican members of Congress. They're triggered by you guys, the audience, and me for daring to call out their bluff on the SAVE Act, because that's what it always was. I know exactly how Washington works. This audience knows exactly how Washington works. You guys purposely don't do your single subject spending bills, so now we're stuck with our backs against the wall, and you use that as the evidence that we need to pass CRs only so you can get your omnibus in December. Single subject spending bills have always been the demand. You guys shouldn't have gone on vacation if you didn't have it all together. But I guess maybe that's what being America Last is, right?
What gets me is when I'm looking at that video, this is for our podcast audience, the look on her face when she pauses each time. It is one of those GTH moments. Like a look on your face like, go to heck. I mean, seriously, she is over it. She is like just shooting out fire out of her eyes.
Hey man,
during her pauses.
Well, I keep calling her the female version of Steve Bannon, because if you just take away the fact that it's Natalie speaking and you just listen to what she says, she sounds just like Steve, man.
Yeah. I think that, Steve, he's a little bit nicer, I do believe. Natalie has learned, and she's right, 100%. This is what we have asked for this whole time. Single subject bills were always the demand. Always. Yeah. And they would like play these games and, spend a day or two overnight in the middle of the night. Oh, we were up and we couldn't get votes, and, they couldn't pass this single subject bill and this one and this one.
And we run on and kick the can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it.
Yes, and that's what they do. Well, we have another one that I want you to hear. Here's one where she says that now we know the fiscally responsible conservatives who claim they don't vote for CRs only do so because of the SAVE Act. Listen to what she says here. It's only 29 seconds.
Now, we know all the fiscally responsible conservatives who say, oh, I don't usually vote for CRs. The only reason that I voted for this one was because of the SAVE Act. But it was always a lie from the get-go. And that's why now we're facing a 3-month CR that is setting us up on the track to have, you guessed it, an omnibus favored by the lobbyists, the Democratic Party, and the Republicans, the bad ones. Now we know.
Amen.
Yeah, and you see, that's what we were talking about last week. That's why we were saying last week, don't vote for this CR with the SAVE Act in it, because we knew what was going to happen. It was going to go up to the Senate. They were going to strip the SAVE Act right back out of it, turn it right back around, and bring it back and be a
with
clean,
more pork in
with
it.
more pork. That's exactly right. And wanting to bring it back to the House and pass a clean CR and then push the omnibus forward through December. And that's what we were trying to stop from the start. Now, and a good point about that is you had 199 of them that voted for it. All the Democrats voted against that CR with the SAVE Act in it. And we did too.
We have 14 that didn't vote for it.
That's exactly right.
Because, they were the ones that were on top of it. They knew what the game was.
Yeah.
So, now they're treated like the bad guys because they didn't pass this CR that with the SAVE Act that would have gone to the Senate and got thrown back down. Oh, but by the way, everyone, the SAVE Act was already passed.
Yeah.
The SAVE Act was passed. Why
all you
got to
do is get
anything?
the Senate. You just got to get the Senate to
do
pass
something about it. How come now Republicans in the Senate aren't doing anything about it?
Well,
how come they're not coming out on all the Sunday shows like, everybody else does and say, hey, we need to do this. Where are you at?
Even, yeah. And even with them trying to say, and the reality that we know that if that CR had went to the Senate, even with the SAVE Act in it, they were going to knock it down. They were going to strip it back out of there,
Yes. 100%. They're not going to do anything about the SAVE Act.
But you also know, here's my point with that. You also know that Biden would veto it, right?
Yes.
He would veto it anyway.
He would veto
it anyway. So why not go ahead and do what's right
and shut down the government?
That's kind of my point. Shut
down the government. You have leverage.
Yes.
You have leverage.
Yeah.
Because if they don't bring that SAVE Act up, then it's the Democrats that have shut down the government because the House passed the SAVE Act.
They don't like it that Natalie was right. They don't like it that we called their bluff on this, man.
No.
They don't like it at all. Neither side likes it, and neither House or Senate likes it.
And one of our representatives from Texas, Chip Roy, he was in on the game.
Yes, he was.
He played the game.
I called it though, man. We kept watching him like we talked about on the War Room going, God, what is he on here for, man?
I know. And we were 100% saying, what's up with Chip Roy?
Yeah.
Why is he on the War Room? Why am I watching him on there?
Why is Chip on here?
And why, and I really, really kind of poked myself because I didn't get it.
Yeah.
At first, because we all know what a rhino is.
He was running cover.
He's the one that.
That's exactly what he was
part
doing.
of getting our Attorney General Ken Paxton impeached and everything, and all of a sudden he's on the War Room.
No, he was calling all of us fuckers not too long ago.
Yes, he was. I can remember that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And that's the thing with MAGA. We don't forget that. And I kept sitting there looking at him during all that time going, what the hell?
I know, me too.
But it was cool because, hey, just like War Room will do, go ahead and bring those people on there. Let them talk. Let them expose themselves.
And it's really cool to watch. It's really cool because they try to go on War Room. They know MAGA is big and they know MAGA is going to be on their tails.
Yeah.
And I'd be darned if they go on there and still try to screw MAGA right in their face.
Well, and you know why? And the reason being is because all they care about is their own self-interest. They don't give a crap about us and what we want and what the people want. You know, you think about the 199 that voted for the CR the first go round. Let's watch how many of that 199 vote against it this time around. Let's see what happens.
Like I put on the screen here, breaking news. Jake Sherman from Punchbowl News comes out with this. He broke this news. It says Scalise just told me House Republicans are likely going to abandon their effort to put the 3-month spending bill on the floor under a rule. But yesterday, Speaker Johnson came out and said that they were going to bring this bill under this rule. They were going to bring it to the floor under this rule. But obviously, as you can tell, they do not have the votes to bring this bill to the floor. So instead, they would consider the bill under suspension of the rules on Wednesday. And suspension is a 2/3 majority. A rule would allow ours to pass with a simple majority. So you know what that means?
Yep.
You would need a lot of Democratic help.
Yep, you would.
You know,
and you're not going to get it.
And
they know that.
Well, I don't know. That the last time it passed, the Democrats are the reason why.
Yeah.
You know, they said, I mean, really seriously, this was set up, just like Natalie Winters said.
Well, and with a 2/3 majority, you see what they're going to do. They're going to push MAGA out again.
Of course,
they're going to push us out
again.
That's
exactly what they think that's what people want.
And this is the interest at heart that I come back to, because I talked about this a minute ago. You know, these people, they got their own damn interests going on here. They don't care anything about us and our interests.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So how about come November 5th, we make sure that those that didn't put our interests at heart, we make sure that they go home.
I mean, 100%. Yes, we need to vote them out.
That's exactly it, man.
You know, and I heard something today as I was reading the content and stuff about Speaker Johnson and how, you know, there's rumors going around that the Democrats made a deal with them and didn't try to primary him on purpose. Like that was part of the deal so that he would, you know, not have a challenger during his election coming November. You know, it's all ridiculous, every bit of it.
Yeah.
How they're all playing together, and you know, we're a one party, and we got to beat all these MAGA. How dare they? How dare the people want to be part of their government?
Yeah.
Just how dare that?
Exactly.
President Trump today, though, he told them all about. President Trump was at was speaking to the farmers in Pennsylvania today, in Smithton, Pennsylvania. Let me slow down just a hair. And he was speaking there. I'm getting ahead of my thoughts here. And I want you to hear what he just said, because this is why they're afraid of MAGA. They're afraid of you. They're afraid of the people. And because they know when President Trump gets back here, it's America first.
Interests of the people, the interests at heart.
Listen to what he had to say today.
I just noticed behind me John Deere tractors. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company. But as you know, they've announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything that you want to sell into the United States, so that if I win, John Deere is going to be paying a 200%. They haven't started it yet. Maybe they haven't even made the final decision yet, but I think they have. John Deere is going to, and anybody else that does this, because it's hurting our farmers, it's hurting our manufacturers. manufacturing. And if you have a 200% tariff on the product that you make in Mexico, right across the border, they think they're going to make product cheaper in Mexico and then sell it in for the same prices they did before, make a lot of money by getting rid of our labor and our jobs, and really a great name, because John Deere is a great name. I buy a lot of John Deere, tremendous. I'm one of their big customers. I buy a lot of John Deere product as a private person. But if they're going to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on everything that they want to send back into the United States, which means one of two things. Our country's going to make a lot of money, or they're not going to build, they're not going to open, and or they're going to sell it to another country. They're entitled to do that. If they want to build in the country, in the United States, there's no tariff. You can go ahead and you can build in any one of the 50 states. You can go ahead. But if they don't want to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on John Deere. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to announce very shortly, if they think I'm going to win, or if I do win, they're going to announce that they're not going to build in Mexico. They're going to have to pay a tremendous tariff, which means two things. They're not going to build the plant. If it's not too late, they're not going to build the plant. This country is going to make a lot of money. Or they're going to build the plant, but they're going to build it in the United States somewhere, and ideally a place like Michigan or South Carolina, where we have a lot of auto business. But we're not going to let that happen. But John Deere has got to understand that if they build in Mexico, if they start closing plants. In this case, it was in Iowa. They're going to close a big plant, and a couple of them, and that's just the beginning. The problem is that's just the beginning.
That's just
then all
the
of a sudden you'll hear, in a year from now, they're going to do another one. All of a sudden, they're not going to be in the country anymore.
That's right.
They're going to have to pay a very big price to be able to sell that product.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good for him, because that's what's happening. And thank goodness for President Trump that he just can't stand NAFTA.
Yeah.
You know, that's the
NAFTA
worst thing
ruined our
that,
country.
that,
It did,
that ever
man.
happened.
It was.
You know,
it really was.
and they're continuing to do it. And we have become, like we're always saying, a consumption society where we just consume things over and over and over again. And we don't do anything, make anything, you know, produce anything.
Yep.
And they're really, really hurting our farmers. And if we lose our food, folks,
Yeah.
you know, then we're done. I mean, John Deere that's big. John Deere needs to stay in America. America made, America first.
Do you think they'll call his bluff?
I think they'll try to help the Democrats steal the election.
But I mean, do you think John Deere will call his bluff and go on over there anyway?
Yes.
I think so too.
I think so too. I think the
so
money
too.
is too good for him.
But what that does, though, is opens the marketplace up here in the country for other people that are willing to be here and build here and do their business here. Let John Deere go on over there. That's fine and dandy. And they do make a good product, no doubt. You know what I mean? But they're an American company. They should
so
build
was a
right
lot
here.
of these other countries,
That's exactly,
these companies that
that's
went
exactly
overseas.
Right. And you know, another good thing for manufacturing is it adds value to our country. It gives us something to offer the rest of the world, which brings more value back to us. And
we have jobs.
yes,
We have wonderful,
and we
well-paying
have
jobs.
pharmaceuticals. There should be way more pharmaceuticals manufactured in the United States than in China. There should be more John Deere tractors manufactured in the U.S. than there should be in Mexico. And the list goes on and on. We could talk about it all day. If 2020, if COVID did not teach us anything, it should have taught us how vulnerable that we are to a supply chain that comes from the Far East. If anything taught us, that should have taught us how vulnerable, man. We're a sitting duck if we don't bring manufacturing back here and build our country the right, correct way, man.
I agree 100% on that. And maybe that will happen. You see all these people, President Trump's at a rally right now in Indiana, Pennsylvania. And let's listen in to see what he's
In
talking about.
Indiana,
Right?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Can you believe that? Watch.
Uh-oh. No, you got sound. I don't know. We got
Oh,
audio.
you know what? Is this the live one?
That's the live one. Did we pull the wrong one up? Still should be giving us some sound.
Oh, wait. Sorry, everybody. Oh, well. I don't seem to be getting any sound. Well, that sucks.
About it, I love
Oh, there he
stars.
goes.
Because if I didn't look over to the right to see that beautiful graph, I said, put up that graph, please.
Look at him talking about his graph.
Look at him turn.
If I didn't look over to the right, I wouldn't be here with you tonight, and that would be a very terrible thing. What a beautiful thing.
Look at all those people. For a podcast audience, of course, it's
Think of it, Uncle Sam. Immigration saved my life. Think of it. Immigration saved my life. No, it's great. Well, thank you. And thank you. I sleep with that pace. Every night I go to bed with it. Say, darling, it's time to go to bed. Let's go. What a beautiful sight. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Great job that you were able to get it so fast. I didn't think we were going to be using it. I didn't think I was going to use it in Butler. It was just, I always use it at the end. If I use it, I only use it. You would know, you go to every damn rally, right? He's at every rally.
Front row Joe.
And he makes a lot of money. I think he's probably an accountant. He's a CPA. He's a genius, but he goes to every rally. But, right, I rarely use it. But when I use it, it's always on my left, and it's always at the end of the speech. This time I just thought of it. As you can see, I don't use the teleprompter too much. Isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't have to use a teleprompter? Isn't that nice?
Yes.
Right?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania is Trump country.
It's really nice. Thank you very much. By the way, we had a rally in Lee's part of the woods out on Long Island, and that was unbelievable. We filled up where the Islanders play and the Nets were playing. They used to play there, a big, like a Madison Square Garden type arena. We filled it up. We could have filled it up 3 times. It was an amazing, just less than a week ago, right? That was great. Lee was there. Kamala has illegally flown in more than 500,000 migrants, right? When she was saying, no, we don't want to do that. And she's got, these guys actually want these people in our country. It's not even believable. Working with left-wing nonprofits to inundate Pennsylvania communities, changing the character of small towns and villages all over our country and changing them forever. They will never be the same. They will never be. Do you think Springfield will ever be the same? I don't think. The fact is, and I'll say it now, you have to get them the hell out. You have to get them out. I'm sorry. To get them out. Can't have it. Can't have it. They've destroyed it. It's terrible. It's terrible to say, and it's a tough thing to do. You know, you're going to take in some murderers and things, and you'll put them on the planes and the buses, and you're going to start doing it. Dwight Eisenhower holds the record. Believe it or not, he was a moderate kind of a guy, General Eisenhower, president. And he has the record. He couldn't stand people pouring into our country, and he took a lot and took them out. He's very strong on that. And we have to be strong. We have no choice because this is not sustainable by any country. There's no country that can do this. I mean, what were they thinking when they did it? What were they thinking? This is like, who would allow men to play in women's sports? Well, this is bigger. This is bigger. But it's the same thought. Who would allow? We're allowing open borders where millions of people that we have no idea who they are, where they come from. We don't know if they're murderers, if they're killers. Many are murderers, though, because prison populations are being released into our country. And these are tough people. They're tough people, and they're vicious, evil people in many cases. And we can't, but it's very tough. Because we'll take one young woman with 2 children and they'll put them in a bus to take them back to some country, and it'll be put in the fake news, and it'll be a terrible story. It's terrible. and the whole country will turn against. It's a very tough thing to do. We have to do it carefully, but we have to get murderers and drug dealers and all these people that are coming into our country. We have to get them out of here. It's not sustainable.
Propaganda.
And not far from here, the 4,000 person town of Charleroi. Do people, oh, you know, Charleroi. In Charleroi, Pennsylvania, has seen a 2,000% increase in the population of their town. Do you know that, right? They have has your town changed slightly? Where are you from, Charleroi? Put up, okay, good. I just took a picture with that handsome guy. So would you say your town has changed just a little bit over the last couple of months? It's like, is it a different place, totally different place? It's what? It's completely different. Where are the other people that started screaming about Charleroi? Where are they? Okay, has your beautiful town changed? Yes. It's you can't do it. 80%, think of it, of the capital, and it's composed of lawless gangs. We're not gonna do this. All of the gang members, MS-13, they're being brought into our country because Venezuela doesn't want it. Remember this: Venezuela has sent their criminals into our country, has emptied their jails, not fully. They've still got people, but I don't know why, because I would have been worse than him. I would have emptied it. If I ran one of those countries, Honduras, any of them, even Mexico to an extent is doing it, and they shouldn't be doing it at all because they're getting rich off of us. They're getting rich. They shouldn't be doing it at all. They're going to stop immediately. But so many of these countries, I would do it. If I were the president of one of these countries, you know, and they're all smart, street smart people, I would have had them all. I don't know why Venezuela does it, but they have a lot of the jail population in our country. They probably couldn't get enough buses and planes. That's probably the only reason. But they're dumping jail populations, the criminals of the street, into our country. And there's only one thing that can happen, and it's really bad. And it's happening. And now you see it. And I said this 3 years ago when I heard about it. I said, this is only going to be bad. Think of the cruelty Kamala Harris is inflicting on the people of Pennsylvania. You live in a small town your whole life. You pay your taxes. You really are exemplary. You pay everything. You do everything. You love your town. You love your country. You know the town so well by name, you're just so proud of it. And suddenly she flies in thousands and thousands of migrants from the most dangerous places on earth, and they deposit them right smack in the middle of your community. And you're...
Yeah, I want to stop you right there.
Okay, cool.
But President Trump is right there. Even in our small community here in Texas, the influx is 3 times as much as the town. I mean, it is just overflowing. You know,
the whole county.
The whole county is, and we work up in a little bigger town than where we live, and I, out in the work that I do, have seen it enormously.
Yes.
The amount of influx of illegals that have just poured in and just and came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And the reason, you know, even if these people were, say, every one of them that come across here wasn't criminal, you know, and if I'm remembering correctly, this is a stunt that Castro pulled also with the Cubans. He emptied the Cuban prisons on us.
Mm-hmm.
But even if all of these people that were coming over here were people that were good people and they wanted to come over here and they wanted to get jobs and they wanted to have a house here and live the American dream and all of this, in all honesty, they're coming in so fast that, like you said, the influx of them, it's so great that cities and towns resources and infrastructure can't handle
education.
It, man. That's right. Their education systems can't handle it, man. They're not built for that yet, you know. And we've looked at the growth of schools, like in the Dallas area. You know, there's like 5A and 6A level schools being built for, what was it, 4, I guess, you know, in just the Garland, McKinney, area
Yes.
on that northeast side.
That side has really,
Yes. I mean,
and down Cleveland and that
Cleveland,
area,
Texas.
you know,
Yes.
that I can remember when they tried to do a bond to, you know, enlarge their school, make bigger schools, and they
Yep.
refused it.
Yeah.
Their people said no
Yeah, they did.
because the people don't want them here. They're not here legally,
Right.
you know, and there isn't enough room for them, and they would be paying the taxes on it, not the people that are coming here.
Right.
That is the problem that we're having. If they could pay their own way, that would be different. But we are paying for them to live, eat, work, everything, you know, get IDs,
Which-
health care, education.
Right. And a lot of this goes back to, hey, if we had manufacturing here in the capacity that we used to have manufacturing here, then you would have enough jobs for a lot of other people to come here, and you would have a lot of other opportunities for them to come here and better themselves. And I get all of that, but we don't.
No,
And that's why this border has been such an important thing to all of us as citizens of our country, is because we understand that we just can't handle it, man.
no.
You know what I mean?
And the Democrats can't stand it. I don't know what happened to them, and when it became such an
Well,
open border thing,
they were
and-
taken over by Marxism, and
you know, and why it's so important. But it's so important to them that President Trump never be elected, never. And they know his polls are high, and you can believe the mainstream media if that's what you choose to do.
yeah,
But I'm telling you, folks, the polls on them TV shows and them legacy media shows, including Fox, are not from the people of America. They all
It's all about a
it's all
show.
about a show. It's all about
It's
just
all
doing a
performative.
certain pool, the certain amount of people that I believe they do
making
every single time,
creating news.
creating a narrative.
Yep.
You know, and then they do these states single it by state, you know, and tell you, well, President Trump's up in this state and then he's down in this state. And it's driving me crazy. And I'm telling you, don't listen to the polls, because the people of America know better. They know, especially when President Trump comes out with a statement like this morning after breaking news. And we're going to get into that here in a minute.
Yeah. Can I read his statement?
Do it.
Yeah. Here it goes. He says, breaking: the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden Department of Justice, and FBI are mishandling and downplaying the second assassination attempt on my life since July. The charges brought against the maniac assassin are a slap on the wrist. It's no wonder, since the DOJ and the FBI have been, what does that say? Have been coming after me nonstop. There you go. With weaponized lawfare. I'm half blind. With weaponized lawfare since I announced my first historic campaign for the presidency. From Russia, Ukraine, Iran. Impeachment hoax number 1, number 2, to the lawless documents hoax that after an unconstitutional raid of my home, on which I am suing the DOJ for their wrongful acts, to the January 6th hoax in D.C., where the J6 Unselect Committee illegally deleted and destroyed all the documents. The Manhattan Zombie case. He lists all of this stuff. He goes on, and he lists all of this stuff, man.
Yes. And he says the DOJ and FBI have a conflict of interest.
Yes.
They have been
since they've
obsessed
been
with-
weaponized against him.
with getting Trump. And it's all been election interference. Every bit of it.
Yeah. And all of this goes to what you're talking about. The big story that we heard about and learned about yesterday was the fact that Ryan Routh had put out $150,000 bounty on President Trump.
Yes. Here we go. Brianna broke this story this morning. She is awesome. Follow her on X at Brianna Morello Show. And please share everything that she does. She's an independent journalist, and she does a really good job. So she says here, DOJ promotes $150,000 bounty placed on Trump's head by the assassination suspect. Can you believe this? This is out of control. I mean, why would they leak this letter?
Yeah.
And it goes on to say the Department of Injustice released a letter that allegedly comes from the suspect who tried assassinating President Donald Trump. Ryan Routh allegedly wrote a letter offering $150,000 for anyone who would complete the job of murdering President Trump. According to the DOJ, this letter was left a note. See, this letter was left a note several months ago. Now, see, I don't understand this right here.
Yep.
You know, you hear some people are saying that it just came out and it was his recently, but I thought I had seen that this was from several months ago.
So, but he starts out saying this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. So is this his suicide by Secret Service letter? You know what I mean?
You know, and then he says, but I am so sorry. I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job. And I will offer, where's he going to get this money?
Yeah.
$150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, know that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less a U.S. president. U.S. presidents must be at bare minimum
embody the moral fabric that America
is America, and be kind, caring, and selfless, and always stand for humanity. Trump fails to understand any of this. You can hardly read it.
This letter was wrote by our deep state, man, because none of this makes any sense to me. And
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, and I agree with Brianna. She said that this was an assassination attempt on Trump, but I failed you. Why would the DOJ promote this bounty that was placed on President Trump's head? And she said she reached out to the Department of Injustice and the Trump campaign for comment on this story, and it's developing. I got questions, man, because none of it does make sense. If he wrote this thing, why did he write this several months ago? Okay. Did he know he was going to fail at this attempt? I mean, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Or why would he be writing the letter if he knew he was going to be the one doing the shooting? Why was he offering a bounty?
I know it sounds to me like he's wanting someone else to actually do the job. You know, here's my theory.
Go ahead.
My theory is he was a plant. This is a bounty on President Trump's head. This is our CIA. That is how crazy they are. I swear, these are crazy people, and they're trying to get President Trump killed. They planted this guy, made the Secret Service look like they were like badass.
Like they done
like
a
they
good
were
job.
doing a good job. Then they arrest him. They keep him in Florida because, you know, DeSantis says he's staying here, you know, and they're still fighting to keep him there. The Department of Justice is really trying to take him away.
Yeah.
And they leaked this.
Yeah.
Why did they leak this? You know, is it because DeSantis won't give him up?
Is this part of the investigation? You know, that you leak this out.
You know, but it's really wild that they leak this particular item, but don't leak other things and hold it and make you not be transparent about it. But they're going to be transparent about this all of a sudden. I just don't believe their turnabout.
Okay, here's my theory with this. This letter was wrote by some agent, whether he's with the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, somebody else wrote this letter. Okay. Because if he was going to write this letter as a suicide by cop letter, then why did he
offer a bounty.
Why did he offer a bounty? How could he pay this if he attempted to assassinate the president? Because common sense would tell you if you try to assassinate a president, a sniper's going to shoot you, right? We just seen this happen. Okay. So yeah, how could you offer the $150,000? Then again, if you were willing to put out $150,000 bounty, then why were you the one set up for 12 hours outside that fence of the golf course?
Yeah.
And why were you sticking your barrel through the fence? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Why him?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've heard about him being over in Ukraine.
Okay. Right. That's exactly right. He's been there. He's been to Taiwan. He's flown all over. He's flown all over the place. And so think about this. It wasn't him that was wanting to assassinate President Trump. We all pretty well can figure that out. And here's my theory on this is, okay, this was a setup from the get-go. Somebody in the Secret Service knew President Trump was going to be playing golf. Somebody in the Secret Service molded that out to somebody else. Ryan Routh is there. These somebody else's know Ryan Routh is there already. That Secret Service who let it be known where President Trump was going to be at that time, he knew Ryan Routh was going to be there already. Maybe that $150,000 was Ryan Routh thought he was going to get it. And so what they done to keep any incrimination, any self-incrimination on either of the agencies, on the Secret Service or the FBI or the DOJ, they pull this letter up here that it supposedly comes from months earlier. I think the letter was wrote as their insurance policy against him, for him to keep his mouth shut now, because he knows now that if he talks, what do you think? So, I mean, to me, that's, and then that, and just like you talked about the way that they talked about the CIA has done such a great job, or not, I keep saying that. That's my Freudian slip. The Secret Service. And they kept coming out talking about the Secret Service did such a great job that day over there. That was their framing. That way they could throw all this back over here on Ryan Routh. And
some nobody
even with
really,
this, even with this
kind of behind the scenes, all involved in Ukraine.
Yeah, but even and even when they pull this letter up there, they had plausible deniability. You know what I mean? For themselves. Oh, well, we done what we were supposed to do. This guy wrote some letter, you know.
Yeah.
Bullshit,
a lot of people
man.
saying there's 2 pages. Where's the second page?
Right.
Because, you know, as we were reading at the end, it didn't finish.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
But, you know, the Jim Hoff, the great Jim Hoff.
The great Jim Hoff.
Sorry, we got a
blue and white screen
page here. So, but they ask, why was this necessary? Biden's DOJ releases reward letter from would-be assassin.
Yeah.
Offering cash to anyone who will finish the job he started and kill Trump.
You've heard my theory. I've heard yours. Let's hear Jim Hoff. Let's see what Jim's got to say.
See how close they are.
See who's right. We've even heard Brianna, so let's see who's right.
This is Joe Biden's Department of Justice, of course, released a 10-page pre-trial memorandum in support of a pre-trial detention of would-be assassin Ryan Routh.
Okay, and then they go on to summarize it that he was captured after, after attempting to assassinate President Trump, giving us a backstory. And I go, it's not clear at this point how he knew that Trump would be playing a round of golf at the same course that Saturday.
Oh, please. We know how it became.
Exactly. So Routh, who was apprehended with a scoped AK-47 before the Secret Service intervened, he had previously expressed an obsessive fixation on Ukraine and even conducted interviews boasting of his commitment to die for their cause.
And we've seen clips of those interviews. Right. That is true.
Yeah, that is true. Shots were fired at Trump's golf club on Sunday afternoon while the president was playing golf. And then, like you say, on Monday, The Biden regime's trying to release they did release a 10-page document filed in the Southern District in Florida in support of keeping him locked up. Apparently, the fact that he was going to shoot the former president was not proof enough to hold him in prison pending trial. But the DOJ included photos of the would-be assassin's gun and ammo.
Here you go, folks.
And
that's what it looks like.
Yep. There's an AK-47 with a 30-round clip.
Yes.
Scope. Everything's a nice little rifle.
And here is the part down here where it's supposed to be scrubbed.
It's scratched off of there.
Scratched off. The serial number
and it was
scratched off.
Scratched off. And this is strange. You know,
it is strange.
Why that they would post this if they're investigating this? Why? Why would you do this?
Why would you give all the evidence out there to everyone for everyone to sit around and make up conspiracy theories like James and I just did and come all the way around to the fact that it's actually more than we think, or we're correct.
Right.
We're 100% correct.
Right.
Don't you think?
I would think.
Oh, it's awful strange.
I really do. I think they brought that out for plausible deniability on any of their part. Hey, the CIA did, again, sorry. The Secret Service. Yeah, the Secret Service did a great job. Yay. Yes. You know, all of this. Hey, we're doing a great job. Yay. You know.
Well, I tell you what, they are not doing a great job.
No, they're not.
Part of the CR that's happening has $230 million for the Secret Service because they haven't been doing a great job. So I don't know what this is for, to hire more people, more training, more what, but that isn't what we've asked. All we've asked is that you protect
the people you're supposed to protect. Exactly.
And to be transparent about everything and to work with local law enforcement, which we have discovered that the government doesn't like to do at all.
Yep.
But speaking of great things that are happening, looky here. Governor Abbott also puts out a reward, $5,000 for information on the TDA gang members, the Venezuela gang members.
Yep. He's offering $5,000 for any information leading to the identification and arrest of known or suspected members of this dangerous Venezuelan gang. They're the ones that were been involved in the overtaking of the apartment complexes in Colorado and other places.
And that is happening.
Yes.
It is happening. So
And he goes on to say that TDA has spread terror and carnage in every country they've been into, and Texas will not allow them to gain a foothold in our state. He said, today I'm announcing a reward for any info that leads to the ID and arrest of known suspected members of this gang who have been or are involved in heinous crimes. Texas will not let these thugs use our state as a base of operation to terrorize our citizens. He says, I encourage anyone with information on the TDA to call the Texas Crime Stoppers hotline or submit an anonymous tip online. With the public's help, combined with hard work, federal, state, and local law enforcement will capture these dangerous gang members and put them behind bars. And it says to be eligible now for your cash reward, you must provide information to authorities using one of the following methods. Call the Texas Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-252-TIPS. It's TIPS. Or you submit a tip online through the Texas Department of Public Safety. All tips are anonymous regardless of how they're submitted, and tipsters will be provided a tip number instead of using a name. Your anonymity is guaranteed by law and could earn you up to $5,000. Fugitives should be considered armed and dangerous. Texans should never try to apprehend a fugitive, and that's what I was going to say too. If you know something,
you call or go online.
Yeah, please don't confront these people.
Do not confront them. They are very, very dangerous. And I hat tip to Governor Abbott for doing this.
Yep.
I don't know if this is just a thing that he's just coming out and saying, hey, look over here. But I'm telling you, there's a lot more going on out there, and we all need to look over our shoulder all the time, look around us, protect our children, love one another.
Yep.
Is this thing working?
rise up. Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.